Hello everyone, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a Q&A episode, so let's actually get started, shall we? So Lukezilla, your first question, what dinosaur is the Kaiju Gorosaurus? I don't mean Gorosaurus based on. I think it could be a Troodontids. So when I looked at the images of this Gorosaurus and the Godzilla Kong string of movies from Japan, to me, it actually kind of almost looks like an Allosaurus or a Carcharodontosaurus, because it has the three-fingered hands. So it's got the three-fingered hands. The skull is a little bit more, somewhat more compressed. It does not look like a Tyrannosaur skull, even though on the back of the skull kind of does look a little bit like a Tyrannosaur. But I would actually have to give it towards, say, an Allosaurus or a Carcharodontosaurus. So, yeah, that's a pretty good analogy there, Luke. And your next question, what are your thoughts on the Godzillasaurus, Gojirosaurus, and could there have been a carnivorous land dinosaur as big as it? So Godzillasaurus, it's basically in the movies for Skull Island. It was actually showcased to be as the ancestor to Godzilla, and so in terms, it actually looks pretty cool. It is a pretty cool kaiju-like creature. It is a type of dinosaur. It's a make-believe dinosaur. Even though there is a dinosaur called Gojirosaurus, it's just a small dinosaur that is known in the fossil record today. It's just that Godzillasaurus is a fictional dinosaur, but it's still a cool looking dinosaur no matter what. And so I think Godzillasaurus is kind of like a mix between certain types of dinosaurs. So you got Tyrannosaurs. You probably have some Allosaurus features in there. I don't think it has spikes, if I remember correctly. If it does have spikes, then I would probably say it does have some features of Stegosaurus on there. But yeah, Godzillasaurus is still a pretty cool kaiju nonetheless. And then your last question, could a Sondo Aqua monster from Star Wars survive in the Miocene epoch alongside Leviathan and Megalodon? I know that Sondo Aqua monsters are basically a kaiju, so for this it would be a lot smaller. So for many of you that don't know what the Sandu monster or Aqua monster is that it's that aquatic monster that is actually in the planet of Naboo in the Phantom Menace. It's got really wide jaws. It's got appendages that it could use to rip apart creatures that it's going to eat. And it features, and it's shown twice in the journey to the capital of Naboo. And it's just an underwater scene where Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Jar Jar are trying to get to the capital of Naboo. And so, yeah, from how it looks, it's really, really cool. It's just that how could it survive in the Miocene? So, it has Megalodon and Leviathan to compete with. Even though that the Sandu Aqua monster is really, really large. I think it's supposed to be close to 100 feet in length, but if you had to shrunk it down, say give it half the size, a 50-foot animal, how would it compete against Megalodon and Leviathan? I think the one thing it does have an advantage of is those appendages. The appendages would actually be the advantage on those claws, but the problem is that I don't recall if this is just it breathes in water or if it does breathe air. I don't recall. I believe it's just an aquatic monster that is that does have gills. I'm not totally sure. But even though Megalodon would have one thing on its side, and that is agility, it would definitely have agility on its side and also the bite force. Whereas Leviathan would actually have a little bit more power. It would have power and also have those large teeth. So how would it compare to how would it actually survive in the Miocene? I think it could survive pretty nicely. It's just that might have to avoid deeper waters to avoid adult megalodon, and of course be wary of Leviathan. And so that would probably be the case if you shrunk it down to half the size. And so yeah, so I would say it would survive okay, but then of course it would have to be wary of megalodon. But not too bad questions there, Luke. All right, Nicholas. Your questions. I think more research and specimens are needed to if the fossils of Troodon and Stenonychus same. Do you agree with me? Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, there still needs to be more research that needs to be done. Even though, remember, Troodon was only specified by a tooth, just a tooth. And so when you look at Stenonychus teeth, very, very similar to the teeth of the supposedly called Troodon. And so with those, there's definitely need to be more research. But like, remember, there was not really a Troodon fossil that was actually found, even though that there were some that were considered to be called Troodon. But even though when you actually look at the ones that were discovered to be named Troodon, those were actually more likely Stenonychus or otherwise another species. And so, because those were named first. And so those were actually named first. But yeah, I do agree with you that there needs to be more evidence, needs to be more research done. If Troodon formosus is not a valid species, would that be the same thing for its other relatives or not? No, it would not. That just don't. Okay, see, what I mean is as an invalid species, is meaning it's basically means that it's a name that still exists. It's just that it's just not a very valid name right now. Because of the fact is that there's a lot of evidence to support that, like, Troodon right now does not. There's not enough evidence to suggest is that Troodon is a separate species from Stenonychus, and so what? So for the other species of Troodontids, that does not mean the other names are invalid. It's just that, like, the ones that were actually considered to be different species. So, like, any changes in terms of, like, skull design, size of the animal, and all that sorts of stuff, that determines a species. That would actually determine a species. But in terms of Stenonychus and Troodon, they're very, very similar. And so that's how you actually get the Stenonychus and Troodon like controversy, is that, but even though some paleontologists still consider Troodon formosus a valid species, it's just that the evidence is stacked against that. But right now, but even though there's some paleontologists that are saying that, like, there's possibly some evidence to support that Troodon what still did exist, it's just that we need to give it a different name. We just need to give it a different species identification name instead of just Troodon formosus, because that would be Stenonychus formosus. And then your last question, what do you think of Torosaurus' design in Walking with Dinosaurs, and would you like to see it in any future documentaries? The design of Torosaurus was actually not too bad. It was not too bad at all. It's just that I think the part that actually kind of does the parts of the animal, mainly I think it's mainly one part, but mainly it's just it's basically the shrink wrapping of the skull. Shrink wrapping of the skull is a little bit of an issue, because, like, on the frill, you can definitely see, like, the indentations of where, like, the holes were for the frill. And also, you can still see the fenestra, or the sinus cavities for Torosaurus right on the snout. And we now know that never happened. That the animal would not look like that. They would not look like that. The only part of the animal that is like shrink wrapped as the skull. That would not happen. And so the overall design of Torosaurus is not bad. It's not bad at all in Walking with Dinosaurs. Would I like to see in future documentaries? Absolutely. I think Torosaurus is a very underused dinosaur in terms of paleontology documentaries, especially in the Hell Creek Formation or the Lance Formation, because that does need to change at some point. So, like I said before, like hopefully that can change at some point, but we'll see what happens. All right, Alex, your question. What is your top favorite formation from each period of the Mesozoic? Good question. Triassic, I would have to go to the formation where the Coelophysis fossils have been found in Ghost Ranch, or otherwise in where Petrified Forest is. I can't remember the name of the formation, but like, yeah, that's those are the ones that I actually like the most out of the Triassic. In terms of, say, the Jurassic, I mean, Morrison Formation. Like, there's no doubt about it, the Morrison Formation, because of all the diversity of dinosaurs that you got there. You know, all your different kinds of theropods, your ornithopods, sauropods, ornithians as well. So, like, there's so much diversity in that. But even though there's some others that are out there that are pretty close, but I would probably say the Morrison Formation for the Jurassic. In terms of the Cretaceous, there's so many that you can choose from. Like there's the Two Medicine Formation. I actually do like that formation, especially you got like Daspletosaurus and some different types of ceratopsians and hadrosaurs that were found there. Hell Creek / Lance Formation. I mean, I'm biased to that one because I want to go fossil hunting on those rock formations. Because, you know, you got the very end of the age of dinosaurs, and you kind of have those different types of sophisticated types of species of dinosaurs, and that's what I like about the Hell Creek and Lance Formation. That's what I like about those. So yeah, I mean, like there's also the rock formations that would actually make up, say, like where Oklahoma and Texas are, where they have like the Acrocanthosaurus, Sauroposeidon fossils, or even like where the Flaming Cliffs are in Mongolia, where they have like the Oviraptorids, Velociraptor, Protoceratops, Nemegtosaurus, Tarbosaurus. Like those were actually, I think it's just in the Nemect formation, but like yeah, like there's so many Cretaceous rock formations that I like. But yeah, but even though the top one for me is the Hell Creek Lance Formation. But yeah, but good question though there, Alex. All right, Benjamin, your questions. How wide could Abelisaurs open their jaws? If you're only talking about, like, say, just Abelisaurus, all the way towards, like, say, Rugops, their jaws would probably open like, more like about this. Not close to 90 degrees, but more of, like, say, like, it's not all the way up towards like, say, Allosaurus. It would actually be more like, probably, say, like a 45 degree, like just around a 30-degree angle for opening its jaws. But when you're talking about, like, say, Majungasaurus could probably open its jaws a little bit wider, probably like, say, 33 degrees in terms of an angle. But like geometry of how wide dinosaurs' jaws could be open, that's something I have to take a little bit more research in. But I do know that Allosaurus has the widest gape amongst opening its jaws compared to other dinosaurs. And so, yeah, I would actually have to take a little bit more research into that. But I think Abelisaurs can open their jaws wide enough to actually be able to catch their prey. I mean, that's all you have to do is that you don't need to open your jaws like super wide in order to catch your prey. Why did Alioramus have bumps on its snout? Mainly for display purposes. Because like those bumps on its snout, they would actually indicate, like, say, like maturity, and also like the overall health of the animal, and you also would be a good sexual display to females. Like if males had, like, say, more brightly colored, or they have more keratin on their snout, and they displayed that to the females, and maybe females didn't have as large of bumps on their snout, but there's still bumps on their snout. It's just that they're not as large, like say from the males. But yeah, it's mainly for display purposes. Could they be used for combat? Maybe, but that would only be like a pushing and shoving match. But I don't think that the skulls of Alioramus are designed for that because they're too narrow. I would probably say that they were more as a display structure than anything else. What shape are the teeth of Dimetrodon? There's some teeth because remember Dimetrodon means two type teeth or two type tooth, and so they actually have canines. They have canines, and also they have like slicing teeth. And so they got canine tooth. They got canine teeth to be able to bite their prey, and also they got slicing teeth to be able to slice meat from their prey. And so they would definitely have slicing teeth, and they would also have grabbing teeth, because that's what they definitely would have. Not totally conical, but definitely enough to be able to grab and hang on. But of course, they have serrations in their teeth too, so they actually do slice meat from their prey. And what were the claws of Anzu used for? So Anzu is a large oviraptorid in North America. So the claws of Anzu, they're large for its size, not like, say, Therizinosaur type of large, but more of like, say, large enough that it would actually be good for some defense in some ways. But more likely, these were used as, like, say, for grasping, like say branches off of a tree to possibly get, like, to the fruit of the tree, or even, like, say, get to be able to, like, scrape out to be able to eat some leaves, and probably to capture small prey. Because remember, oviraptorids have very flexible wrists, and so they were able to not like say ours, where we can actually pivot our wrists in different types of directions, but more of like they're kind of very similar to how they would grasp their prey. They just grasp small prey mainly. So because since oviraptorids are more omnivorous, but even though they are more likely herbivores, so Anzu is more likely a herbivore, but it would definitely eat some meat if it could. I would definitely say these are more grasping tools than anything else. Like to be able to grab branches off of leaves, off of, like, say, small shrubs, small trees to get to the fruit, or even, like, say, some nuts, and also to be able to get some leaves, and of course to grasp its prey, like very small prey. So probably, like, say, lizards, some small mammals, amphibians, those types of things. So that's more likely that those would be used for. But anyway, that's all the questions I got for you today. Next week will be a special episode. I'll let you guys know what kind of prehistoric animal I'm going to talk about, so stay tuned for that. But you can still send me questions about dinosaurs and other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochrist71@gmail.com. Or go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dinochrist. Like the page, you should post your questions in the comments section. Please put them in the comments section. Don't put them on Messenger. Messenger is a private conversation, so please put your questions in the comments section on any Facebook post. And also for YouTubers out there, like the video, subscribe to the channel according to my analytics. So a lot of you guys are checking out my channel and not subscribed yet. So please feel free to hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button, because that's how the YouTube algorithm works. The more likes the video gets, the more likely the video gets spread out to people that are interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. So please feel free to do so. And also share the video, share the channel to anybody that is interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. So please feel free to do so. And also hit that notification bell so that we can get notified of every video that comes out weekly. And also check out the polls and the posts, so that way you can actually interact with everybody in the polls. And so I post polls every 3 days. So go check out those polls, participate, and do it in a friendly manner. And also give me your opinions on some of those polls, on some of the polls too, like in terms of the topic of the polls. Please feel free to do so. And also And also for you YouTubers out there, leave your questions in the comment section because I do read them all. Your questions mean a lot on these Q&A episodes. So all of you that send me questions via email, Facebook, and YouTube, you guys are awesome. You're giving me some great questions for the Q&A episodes. So keep up the great work, and also make sure you keep your questions short to the point. So follow me on Instagram at dino.chris at dino.chris.pf. It posts pretty cool stuff on there. You can also follow me on Threads at the same thing at dino.chris.pf. It posts pretty cool stuff on there as well. Also, take care of people around you. Also, for you younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and the guardians. It's the best motivation you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. It's really good education. You get a good job in the future. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.